All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, children and boys of all ages. We have a lovely show for you tonight on the Fan Forum. We're going to be talking about the Pistons. They got the number one seed locked up. Michigan is going to the championship game. They're fighting for a natty. Michigan hockey, they have the Frozen Four. The Red Wings are awful and can't get out of their own ways. The Tigers look streaky at best already. Verlander's on the IR. We probably won't mention a lot of the Lions tonight. I'm Mark. You're about to get some Hermdo. Happy Easter. This is the Fan Forum. All right, as I promised, the one and only Easter Bunny. We've got Donkey Kong 43's already in the chat. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe if you already haven't. Yes, you know what? We're going to be talking, you know what? Screw it. We're talking Lions. I said this wasn't going to be a Lions show. We're doing Lions. We're going to have to talk Lions. I've kept my mouth shut long enough. But like I said, thank you for joining. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to talk about it all tonight. I'm really curious to see. We have the draft coming up. We have it's been kind of a quiet time for Lions noise. What are fans thinking now? Now that the pomp and circumstance of free agency is over with, what's everybody feeling? How do you think your team's setting out? ESPN had a stat out there that rated the Lions third most improved roster, which I thought was pretty interesting, right? So there's a lot of negativity on the Talk and on the other social media apps that prove different. I'm hearing so much negativity still from Lions locals. So you tell me what you think. We also have a lot of excitement about the draft, right? I mentioned that Hermdo and I are going to do a live draft episode where we walk through who our picks are going to be. I'm going to try and not make mine just like Charlie Campbell's mock draft. And if you want to know who that is, go to walterfootball.com, look at Charlie Campbell. He is probably the most accurate mock draft year over year. Now, some years he doesn't get it always right, but dude, if you follow his logic, you're going to have a successful mock draft. Or you could be like Hitch and just completely get lost in what the Mel Kipers of the world say, or what else does Hitch look at? Hitch looks at the the Athletic, right? So we got, if they can land an offensive tackle in the first round, then draft mostly defense. I mean, it could be already all right, really. And I think that's what's going to happen. There's a lot of mock drafts right now and a lot of noise about get ready for the Lions to pick up a defensive end in the first round. Unless there's somebody I think they absolutely love, absolutely love. There seems to be every year where Brad Holmes and company falls in love with a certain player. And it's make or break for that guy. And I think that if there's a defensive end, and throw a name out there if you think there is one that they absolutely love, let me know. But I'm in love with Caden Proctor. From an offensive tackle standpoint, I think he's Penne 2.0. Not to get into the nitty gritty, but he's basically a future Pro Bowler in my eyes. Especially when it comes to these offensive linemen. Every year, every other year, there seems to be one of those undoubtables, untouchables. We got lucky with Penne in the draft because he's going to be probably the best offensive tackle for the next, 5 or 6 years. All right, we got Happy Easter from the DFF Network. Yes, thank you, guys. If you haven't done, check them out. Check out the DDWs, not DFF, DDW Network. They are wrestling and a whole lot more. Good friends of the show. Speaking of good friends of the show, though, and speaking of someone who absolutely loves Brad Holmes, not as much as I do, we have Uncle Hermdo.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Uncle Hermdo, was the Easter Bunny kind to you?
Yeah, it was a good day. I just hung out with the family. Had some people coming in from the west side, and
good.
We just hung out and had some Polish beer and some kielbasa and regular Polak food because we're a bunch of Polacks. So we had a good Polak traditional Easter. Yeah, I had a pretty good Easter, and then I watched the Wings game
Oh,
And
how awful was that?
man, I don't know if you wanted to start the show with this, but I was thinking about this, earlier, and it's just like we got Michigan basketball in the finals. They absolutely smoked Arizona, looked incredible out there.
Yep.
And we got, the Pistons securing the number 1 seed in the East. They've been without Cade Cunningham for weeks. They're looking great out there. The Tigers had like 4 home runs yesterday, absolutely slapped around the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yep.
All these active sports teams are doing so good right now. And then you got the Wings. And I was watching the game. I turned it off after 4-1. I'm just like, it's over. They're done. They're cooked. How many times have we seen this? Absolutely desperate. Need clutch scoring. Need clutch goaltending. Need good defense. Just nothing happening. Nothing's going right. Nothing's going right. And I turned it off. And I was like, kind of playing some video games. I was playing my PlayStation. I was just fucking around for a little bit. And then I'm like, this is getting kind of boring. Let's go out, see if there's any bars open. So I went up to this place on Woodward, and they had the Wings game on. It was the last few minutes of the third period. And I realized they tied it up. I couldn't believe it. It was 4-4 with like 3 minutes left. And I'm thinking, they might blow it in overtime, but at least we could get a point. If that's worth something, it has to be something. But I was watching it, and I was kind of like, oh, this is cool. Maybe the Wings can, maybe this will be the game. They're saying it on the broadcast. Like maybe this could be the spark plug for the Wings, if they could come back from this victory against a really good Minnesota team. If they can stun the Minnesota Wild and come back, that would be a hell of a thing. They could use that as like inspiration for the rest of the season. And then Patrick fucking Kane, the American hockey legend, Patrick Kane, more points than Mike Modano. Patrick Kane just passed Luke Robitaille for 25th in points all time. Patrick Kane, in open ice, tripped Quinn Hughes. He goes tumbling to the ice.
For no reason. For no reason.
Tripped him for no reason. He was just skating by. Patrick had it just like, yeah, fuck it. I'm just going to I swear to God, he bet against the Wings or something. This is some Pete Rose shit. But anyways, so Patrick Kane, legendary Patrick Kane, tripped Quinn Hughes. They get a 2-minute minor. And Kirill Kaprizov, because who else? Who else would it have been? He completed his hat trick. He scored his third goal with like 15 seconds left in the power play. And in the remaining like minute and a half, Wings rallied but could not. I mean, when I say rallied, I mean they just kind of threw everything in the kitchen sink they could at the goalie. Nothing went through. Regulation loss, humiliating, embarrassing regulation loss. I'm so angry with this. I didn't have time to comb my beard or anything. I was so angry, but I look like shit. My freaking light's too bright. There we go. That's better. But it's just, I was fucking pissed. And I tell you, Mark, I'm really starting to hate this Red Wings team. I'm really starting to hate this rebuild. Yep. I'm a hate-filled man. I hate this rebuild.
I picked up on that. You went from a Hermdo guarantee to the playoffs to I absolutely hate this team. I was going to text you when it was 3-1 or no 4-1.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, all right, make a snarky comment, text Hermdo about the Red Wings, and then it was tied up. And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I don't really have many snarky comments to make. And I'm thinking to myself, like you just said, Patrick Kane is basically the next Pete Rose of hockey because he had money on that game. There was no reason to do what he did.
There's no reason.
And I do want to give out Donkey Kong 43 a shout out, Hermdo. He said, "Good job, Hermdo. Go Blue, go Pistons, go Tigers, and F the darn Wings."
Fuck the Wings.
Exactly right. This is exactly where this whole show is going to be about. And you caught me. I was actually getting into some Lions. Hey, the draft is coming up. I love Caden Proctor, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
I'm a Brad Holmes slappy, like I always say, right? And then, it's just like you come in here and you drop this bomb, this hate-filled bomb on the Red Wings, and I think it brought some air into this show, right? The DDW network says U of M hockey at least knows how to carry the momentum to the end of the season. Frozen Four. How awesome is that, dude?
Like, honestly, college hockey is pretty cool. It's pretty sweet.
I agree.
They had the Frozen Four games at Michigan Stadium, 100,000 people watching college hockey. People go apeshit for that kind of stuff. Michigan's a great hockey. Michigan is the greatest hockey state. I don't care what anyone says. I know it doesn't mean much, but in the big scheme of things, because hockey's still kind of a niche thing. But still, to me, I love hockey. I love everything about Michigan hockey, except
so
for
let me ask you this:
fucking Red Wings.
So is Ann Arbor hockey town now, and is Detroit something else? Because we talked about this in past couple shows where, right, like the allure of the 90s and everything you had in Detroit was you had the Red Wings. It was hockey town. Catch a game at Tiger Stadium, and you were having fun, but they weren't playing winning baseball. Now you go downtown, Hermdo. Now you go downtown, and I don't know how often you do it, but excuse me. It's not hockey town anymore. No. There is no Chili's Chili. It's not Red Wings Central. It's a Lions team or a Lions town / almost starting to be a basketball town, right? Like there's diehard Tiger fans out there all the time. And right now with opening day being so prevalent, you're going to see a lot of it. You'll always see the English D. But dude, when you look at it, this is a Lions and a Pistons town now. It's not hockey town. Hockey town's in Ann Arbor.
Every other team is trying, at least, and they've had various levels. We've had disappointments with our teams, with the Tigers, with the Lions, but at least I'd like to believe there's more good with bad with these teams. And we discussed this till we're blue in the face with these other teams, but the Red Wings, it's just been mediocrity. But this is garbage. This is unacceptable, Mark. This is unacceptable.
I agree. And we had a lot of good content out this week where we, last week we trashed Steve Yzerman. I trashed him. I called for his head. I said he's got to go. And, typical to Red Wings slackies, you had it split 50-50. You had guys out there who are agreeing with me saying, yep, it's time to go. It was time to go 3 years ago, right? They're doing the whole it should have never happened game. And then you've got guys saying, okay, he just dug Ken Holland out of a mess. And I'm like, Ken Holland is so old news. Like, you move on from that, right? Like,
he's been gone for 7 goddamn years.
Yeah, like that's like you being hung up still over a girl you went to high school, dated in high school. It's long gone, right? Those days are over. I look at it, though, and I think to myself, are Red Wings fans going to have to really take a look at themselves in the mirror and see what they demand more of? Do they demand better from their team because they're pulling far away from all of the 97 to 2002 realistic era of good hockey? And are they going to have to come to terms that they're probably the least winning team now in the state? It's the Pistons and it's the Lions, which shit, dude. Never once would I have been ever to tell you that it would be the Lions and the Pistons that run this town. We've seen it before with the Pistons, but for short periods.
Every other team has had some success. Every other team beat the odds. The 24 Tigers, the best story in baseball that season. They were talking about Moneyball. They were playing videos of Brad Pitt going like, how could you not be romantic about baseball? All that cutesy bullshit when Matt Vierling and Zach McKinstry and a bunch of freaking AAA freaking moon mammoths or sea wolves or whatever the fuck they call them, the freaking mud hens. It was just,
moon mammoths.
Remember that shit. But
I think I like that name better.
Me too. But it's just like they cobbled together this team of 24. They got all the way to the playoffs. They didn't win the division, but they went in there. They knocked off the Astros. It was a great story. And the Lions won a couple of divisions. They won the NFC North 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row.
That was awesome. The Pistons, they come back, an incredible comeback story last couple seasons. Every other team in Detroit has had some moments that were great, that were epic, and the Wings have been out of the playoffs for 10 cock-sucking years. Pardon my French.
Exactly. Nope, and this is where I triggered one of those those winger fans, right? The Deuce here, he says, "Happy Easter. Lions fans have been titleless since 1957. Come on, boys.
Come on.
What have you done for me in the last 10 years, right? I don't care about the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. We're past that, right? What have you done in the last 10 years? Like you said, the Red Wings have been out of, and I'll keep the rest out of it, but they've been out of the playoffs. The Lions in that last 10 years, they've won 2 division titles, right? They almost won the whole entire NFC. So that's why I'm telling you, as a hockey fan, sorry to break it to you, sorry to burst your bubble, the Dews and many Dews out there. You're at the bottom now. You are the new Lions. Sorry, you are. You're the new Lions of Detroit.
Yeah.
In the last 10 years. In the
last 10 years. Speaking in terms of just like irrelevance and just like
losing,
a total inability to get the job done. And I know how bad Ken Holland left this team. I know I would watch those games back in 2019, 2020. We had absolute nobodies on. We had Dylan Larkin and a bunch of Griffins on here. You know, it was a mess. The Anthony Mantha experiment, you know, all that shit.
I'll give you that. But
yeah,
how bad did Trajan Langdon inherit a team?
Oh, my God.
What did Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell inherit with an entire cursed 70 years of football, right?
But Brad Holmes, he took like 2 seasons past Matt Patricia to build, you know, a competitive team, to build a team that, you know, is like a championship contender. And, you know, we could quit, you know, and there's been a few hiccups along the way, but, you know, the turnaround for the Lions, 2 or 3 years. The turnaround for the Pistons, 2 or 3 years. Turnaround for the Red Wings, 7 years, not even getting close to the playoffs, not even getting anywhere near it, burning out in the last month of the season for the 3rd year in a row. Unacceptable. I'm trying to think of other like hockey equivalents to this. I know the Oilers, you know, funnily enough, the Oilers were like out of the playoffs for like 10 years after they made it to the finals in 2006 and lost to the Hurricanes. They were out of the playoffs for like 10 years, and the coach that brought them back into the playoffs was Todd fucking McClellan, way back in the day.
GM? Who was their GM that brought them into relevancy too?
Ken Holland. No, I'm just kidding. Well, Ken Holland was there for a couple. They got a new general manager now, but
he was there when they inherited, and he inherited a lot of first-round picks. He inherited. He inherited a lot of what we've used this word before, gravitas, right? So I don't want to hear it, guys. I don't want to hear it when it comes to this because if this were any other sports team and in the Motor City right now, you'd want everybody gone, right?
Yeah.
Al Avila did not have this short of a leash, right?
No.
And you saw what he did, right? He made the easy picks, but when it came down to it, he couldn't put a contender together. And it looks like Scott Harris has already done a better job of managing it.
Yeah.
Time will tell. But that Trajan Langdon one, man, like totally under the radar. The Pistons totally under the radar with what they're doing with JB Bickerstaff. They're a year ahead of a rebuild. They clinched the #1 seed. They've taken a player on a 2-way contract like Dennis Jenkins and turned him into he's turned into a perennial player. I mean, you put him out there and you know what you're going to get. You're going to get starting caliber point guard play, right? He goes out there and has 21. I think he averaged, when Cade was healthy, he averaged 7 points a game. When Cade's out, he's 21 points. So it's perfect. We know he's not going to average 21 points when Cade's in. He's not going to see the minutes. But when Cade's out, and i.e. the playoffs, let's say, you know, Cade comes back and you're in the game and you have to sit him, you know what you're getting? You're getting another starting caliber guard and Dennis Jenkins. You're just getting so much quality depth that hard to ignore and hard not to say that this is a Cade Goff town. It is not a
Larkin.
I don't even know. But yeah, look at even the Red Wings, dude. Their GM surpasses any player on the team. All we talk about is Stevie Y. We don't hyper obsess on Larkin and Sandine Pellica and Moritz Seider. We don't. We go right to Goff, right? There's a Jared Goff chant all over the world, anywhere you go. Cade Cunningham has got this kind of he's just starting to come alive in the NBA. His gangster, his style, his swag is becoming picked up. Nike gave him his own signature shoe. I think the sky's the limit for Cade Cunningham. With the Tigers, tell me you're not like Hitch, where you have your own Kevin McGonigal doll that you sleep with every night already, that you're kissing and nuddling and you're getting excited. I'm excited about McGonigal. He plays defense. He plays offense. He seems to he fits the bill of a major league ball player. And
he's matured. He is matured and disciplined far beyond his years. Great approach at the plate. Great swings. He knows exactly what he's doing out there. Very, very good defense. He's young. I'm expecting him to make a couple mistakes here and there, but it's just the thing. He's fucking 21 years old. So what? Let the kid mess around. It's so much, it's just so refreshing to see a guy like this. I mean, I can't tell you the last Tigers prospect I was this excited about, probably Spencer Torkelson or something, or maybe Terry Skubal. But I mean, there've been some good prospects in the last 5-6 years. So this is another guy, is adding to the depth of the team. I like this. This sometimes I question the Tigers' approach. Like, you want them to go out and get some big name bats or something. You want to sign somebody to some $200 million deal, but the way they're doing it right now, the farm system spitting out guys like McGonigal. I'm excited for guys like Max Clark. I'm excited for guys like that. So, yeah, McGonigal makes you happy about the whole process. Yes, but with one process that doesn't make me happy is we talk about depth on the Pistons. Without Cade, you got guys like Dennis Jenkins. Stepping up to the plate, got Jalen Duren, you got all those guys taking care of business, you're putting down, they put a hurting on the 76ers, which you kind of expected, but, without Cade, that kind of adds a little factor in there, just like, can they get it done? But you see the depth.
What's funny, Hermdo?
Yeah.
And this speaks to the depth. Sorry to interrupt, but this thought just popped in my head. Watching the 76ers game, they beat the bulk of that 76ers team with the rotation that we typically put in when we're up by 20 in the fourth, right?
Yeah.
That team was gelling on a whole new level of like Paul Reed, Javonte Green, and you're like, dude, these guys are all playing like studs. You can't tell who's out there. You don't know if it's Jalen Duren or if it's Paul Reed. You don't know if it's Cade Cunningham or if it's Dennis Jenkins, right? You don't know that Azar Thompson and I couldn't believe it, but Carlos LeVert was actually starting to play like Duncan Robinson. He was hitting threes. He was actually starting to do something.
Yeah.
And then you have Kevin Huerter. Oh my God. The big red ginger who we trade Jaden Ivey for, a big, massive contract in basketball terms, I'd say, for a rookie a draft pick that I don't think has really panned out. Injured, right? Set aside all the crazy stuff he's going through right now, but he's injured for most of his career so far. We trade him. Everyone's like, Kevin Huerter, who? Meanwhile, Jaden Ivey's been cut and he's out of the league.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like he's coming back soon. And Kevin Huerter is gelling, dude, nailing threes. He's playing phenomenal defense. He just like stepped in, and it was like they know who they like. They know who works for them. And not to go crazy with the Lions, but that's exactly what I'm telling you to all the Brad Holm haters out there. That's what he sticks to. He sticks to the guys that fit. And you might not love the name that comes in, but you're going to love the production.
Yeah. But we see it with the Lions, with the Tigers, with the Pistons. You see quick turnarounds.
Yes, you do.
Quick turnarounds. Now, after they got rid of Al Avila, and granted, he made a couple good draft picks. He brought A.J. Hinch here. Granted, A.J. Hinch would have probably worked for the Palookaville Fart Knockers or whatever, but the quick turnarounds, 3 or 4 year windows to build competitive teams. We see with the rest of the 3 teams, Red Wings, nope. 2019, Yzerman gets the job. 7 years. We're the better part of a decade into this. We have not sniffed the playoffs yet. There's depth issues. We talk about depth with the Pistons, depth with the Lions. There is no depth on this Red Wings team. You got a couple guys in your first line. You got DeBrincat, 40-goal-a-year guy, produces. You got Larkin when he shows up. He's pretty consistent, 30 goals a year scorer. You got, Lucas Raymond, but everybody else, down the middle, you're pathetic. JT Comfer is not getting the job done. Andrew Cobb had some nice games here and there, but he's not getting the job done. James Van Riemsdyk, a good net front presence, but he's not getting the jobs done offensively. You brought back David Perron. In 10 games, he has 1 point, and he's -5. And he stinks. Axel Sandin Pellica, you brought Justin Falk in here. He has not really adjusted to the scheme yet. You got him on the line with Ben Sherratt. Your defense has no depth. You're still putting the whole workload on Moritz Seider, who has the most block shots of the team. He still blocks shots like a son of a bitch. Mo Seider is the workhorse. Personally, I think he should be a Norris finalist this year. I believe he will be. But you got Cale Makar in the way, of course. But, yeah, you got the way this team's built, it's just they're not competitive. They looked competitive in the middle of the season. This is like the halfway. If you could give the Red Wings a championship for like halfway through the halfway through the regular season championships, like half a President Cup or something, that's what the Red Wings would win because they're not getting it done in the later months. Happy Easter, Vincent. Hope we, don't bum you out too much. But yeah, it's just injuries have been bad, and I know that's a factor there. You got Larkin missing time, you got all these other guys missing time, but yeah, overall, just the way the Wings are constructed, the way their 5-on-5 play stinks. They're chasing all the time. They're always going down early, 4-0, 3-0, 2-0 early in the game. We saw that Penguins game. They were down 3-0 in the first period, and that was that. That was that. But you know what? They just have not. They don't have the talent. They don't have the depth.
Well, you know what they do have?
Yeah.
They do have fans like Hitch. And I don't know if you saw your phone, but Hitch actually took his daughter to her very first Red Wings game today.
Oh, poor kid.
I know, right? And even though they lost,
sorry,
right?
Honey.
I want you to see that they got on the Jumbotron, guys, and they played some they had to name so many pitches, right? Like name as many MLB professional pitches, right? Like slider, curveball, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
But JT Compher. So I'll spare you the details. Hitch did win, right? But it's pretty cool to see. I've never been actually. So hold on, I have been up on the Jumbotron at the Tigers game, the Kiss Cam actually with Dave Rayum, and swear to God, and I don't know if you remember her. She's married now, but her maiden name was Sarah Walasik, girl we went to high school, grew up with. She's at the game. I believe it was with her husband, and she's like, "Oh my God, I just saw you and Dave Rayum on the Kiss Cam." But anyways, want to give a shout out to Hitch and Maggie. There he is right there, being all sweet and sexy. I said, hey, now you have more Detroit gear that you don't have to wear on the podcast that you never come on. So
nice.
Want to give a shout out real quick, even though the Red Wings do suck and they're spiraling out of control. You've got a new fan, a young fan in Miss Maggie, where she didn't see the Hockey Town era, and this is all she knows. So she's having fun, right? She's not as tainted. Like you got to think right now, there are people who have never went through a disappointing Lions season like we have, right? Mm-hmm. They've never gone through that. So we have to calm ourselves. We do. We have to reset our expectations. And like per usual, I always get these Brad Holmes haters, but Brad has no time for project players this year. We need players that have been relatively mostly healthy and have started a lot of games. We need dogs with experience. So
that's fine by me.
Speaking of healthy, Kirby Joseph was at that Tigers game, and that's going to be, I think, a big gauge for us, right? He says he's coming back. He says he's healthy. Says he's comeback player of the year. If you buy into all that, right, and he's all swagged out and he's going to be there, you have Kirby, you've got Brian Branch. What more are you looking for from a health standpoint? Pasquale's gone. All those goofballs that never worked out are gone. They wrote those contracts. Marcus Davenport is not coming back, guys. Sorry to say, I know the Dew secretly wishes that we sign Marcus Davenport. I know he does. I know it. I don't care what he says. He's the biggest anti-Lions fan out there. Even though in his podcast he wears a Lions hat, which I told him take that shit off. But I think again, I'm going to say it again. You're going to fall in love with this year's draft. You just are.
I think so. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I can't wait. I want to be in your basement. I want to be eating your snacks. I want to be taking a dump in your toilet, and we're going to watch that game. Kirby's career is over. Kirby's career is over. It's just getting started, baby.
I hope
what are you talking about?
I hope you're wrong, Donkey Kong 43. I really do, because that's why I'm saying, like, I'm kind of fanboying out, I know. And it's just like, but if he's putting himself out there, he says he's comeback player of the year. He's at the game. He's doing his little Tarek Skubal, don't forget about me, right? Walk through the Tigers game. He's pretty dripped out too, man. That's pretty good style. But
gotta be these days.
I just think about it, right? I think about everybody that's coming back, everybody that's healthy. It's just going to be a fun draft. And you're right. You're going to be here eating my food, shitting in my basement. That is coming up, man. We have a couple weeks for this draft to come up. It's going to get us before we know it.
We're going to be getting matching Brad Holmes tattoos on our asses.
I think that's a great idea. I still have to come get my Lions Kool-Aid.
Yes. Okay, good stuff. Okay. But I bitched and whined about the Red Wings for a little bit. I could whine some more. I'm prepared to whine as long as it takes. But if you want to veer into different territory, what's that?
Are you drinking wine too?
I'm drinking that. So.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah, Red Wings are making me drink. I'm I'm not an alcoholic or nothing. Don't worry about my first drink I've had in a few days. So, but I needed to drink after that game. But
I wanted to say this because I'm going to say it over and over again. We talked a little bit about a mock draft. I brought up the concept of Caden Proctor a couple weeks ago when everybody was saying defensive end. I just pulled up, and you're gonna hate how much I talk about Charlie Campbell's mock draft with Walter Football. You're gonna hate it, and that's exactly who they have. Who he has the Lions taking now is Caden Proctor, right?
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, he had, I think, a defensive end or another offensive tackle, but I do this every year, Hermdo. I do it. I did it, and it started with Patrick Peterson, where I fall in love with a certain guy that I want on here. And I know Brad Holmes does it. He did it with Devin Witherspoon, and he did it with a few other guys. But this is my love. This is my heart of the year in the draft is Caden Proctor. So, what are your thoughts? Are you in the camp of defensive end or bust, right? And get that next pass rusher for Aiden Hutchinson to pair with because you're not happy? You're like the dude, you still think we're going to get Marcus Davenport, or are you on the bandwagon of you're all about Caden Proctor or getting a tackle?
Man, I so need the one thing I need, and I think Caden Proctor is going to be a stud. And if we get him, I will not be disappointed at all. I will not be upset. I will not be mad. But this one defensive end, I think we got to invest in a defensive end. I don't know if that you want to make that a priority. To me, you got to have somebody alongside Hutch. That's the key to the defense. That's what I believe. This Cassius Howell kid, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from him. And it's just he's an edge on Texas A&M. Fastest pass rush drill times 2023, 4.59 40-yard dash. He with Al-Qadim Muhammad gone, with Davenport gone, with all these other guys leaving, I think he'd slot right in. I think he'd be a monster. I think he'd fit Dan Campbell's system wonderfully. Now, I haven't checked out the latest mock drafts. I haven't, free for the last few weeks, but I'm high on Cassius Howell. I do like Caden Proctor. I do think, the offensive line just needs. Personally, I think I don't know. Is it the offensive line? Personally, I think the defense needs a little bit more help. That's just me, though. Maybe I'm just a dummy. I don't know, but I'm not going to complain either way. Either of these guys, I would absolutely welcome onto the team. Absolutely, definitely, but.
Well, my boy Charlie Campbell has your has the douche Chicago Bears getting Cassius Howell. So we all know Ben Johnson likes to just basically clone everything we do over here in Detroit. All right, I think Brad will target an offensive tackle or two and move accordingly to get him. Round 2 edge is
Oh, sorry,
important.
my
There's
internet.
some solid ones that should be there at pick 50. I'm agreeing with Donkey Kong 43 on this one. I really think you're going to get the round 2 edge rushers that always fall out, right? We see it every year. There's one or two guys that are just can't miss, and the rest of them, teams start to kind of, ooh, they went on tackles. Ooh, I like these wide receivers. Ooh, I like this corner. And we always see defensive end pass rushers fall into the second round. So that's who I think. Vincent thinks my personal defensive end first. See, I knew there's just like this split camp, right?
Vincent's my man. My man, Vincent. You agree with me?
He does.
We're looking at. I got some more names pulled up. I got some more stuff pulled up. We're doing a little bit of a deep dive in this. We're talking Lions again after a couple weeks of taking a break from it. But yeah, I mean, I think defensive end is a priority. But we can go either way. Who's your Cowboys getting?
I honestly think the Cowboys are going to go out and reach like they always do for a pass rusher. I think they're going to – Jerry Jones is going to fall in love with that athletic freak that has somewhat of a criminal background, like always, and he's going to fall in love with them. That or just go balls to the wall and just get a wide receiver.
Yeah.
Hello. We got another one out there. Super Sailor Outlaw says hello to Herbdo. But yeah, that's my opinion. That's where I'm thinking. This Keldrick Falk out of this defensive end out of Auburn seems to be like the hot name, the big talk. That's another one that I think the Cowboys are going to go for. If you want my honest opinion, the Cowboys are they're like an open book. They're pretty easy to read. But I really want to say, what team do you think is going to go out there and just royally screw up this draft? Who's going to make that one what the hell bonehead move and throw us all for a curve?
I think we talked about that. Yeah. Probably the Raiders, if I had to guess. I mean, I think we're both in agreement with that. They just signed Kirk Cousins, so I'm assuming as a backup to Mendoza when they finally draft him. If they do draft him, I don't know. But, there's other teams in the mix. The Browns. The Browns draft strategy is always high comedy. The New York Giants, they got John Harbaugh in the fold now, the New York Giants. Some of those guys.
The Jets. What about the Jets? They always tend to.
The Jets. Oh my God, the Jets. What are they going to give? What are they going to cobble together with this draft? What plate of dog shit will they be serving Aaron Glenn to try to win football games with? What's going on there? I don't even know their quarterback situation. It's a fucking disaster.
I agree. It's a disaster. The Chicago Bears and all, actually. Yeah. Everything that the Bears does is an absolute disaster. That's going to be a fun fan base to troll this season because
I think
they don't know what they have in Caleb Williams still. They don't. They just don't.
No.
He's too young. He's too raw. He has when you have a guy like that with such a high ceiling and a young new coach, in your first season, you had all these kind of like come from behind win games. It's gonna, dude. The NFL's gonna test that boy. They're gonna test him and say, "Are you battle proof? Are you ready?" Right? Even your boy, what's his face? A little midget out of Arizona, who's now a Viking. I can't think of his name. Kyler Murray. Even Kyler Murray had a little bit of fun and a little bit of success, but it wasn't hard to plan for him and figure him out. So it's going to be interesting. And it's crazy to see what Kirk Cousins has done in his career with how much money he's elapsed. He has now surpassed Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. It's just as far as money earned. And he's just been average at best. So it's it's crazy.
That's insane.
Isn't that insane?
That shows you what a premium, even like mediocre quarterback play is. To have a guy like that, and Kirk Cousins, he had a few good seasons. He had a few good games.
He did,
but the guy was never, he was never like a top 10 in the league guy. He was always kind of firmly in the middle. He was just one of those guys that he would get the job done, but you weren't going anywhere with him. But just that kind of, it just, mid to, solid to maybe even kind of good quarterback play is at such a premium. A guy like Kirk Cousins can out earn guys like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. It's pretty crazy just how desirable that is. Just a guy you want to bring in and try to build a team around him, give him a few weapons and whatnot. But you might be able to win with somebody like that. You look at some of the guys, historically, some of the Ravens quarterbacks. You got Joe Flacco. He's still in the league, but Joe Flacco had his moments, but I wouldn't say he was any great shake. Same thing with Trent Dilfer back in 2000 when they won it back then. Same thing. You could say maybe even Eli Manning with the New York Giants. He was one of those guys that just wasn't. He was kind of mid. He wasn't like his brother Peyton or nothing. But the ultimate battle between Caleb Williams and Jared Goff. Jared Goff will turn Caleb Williams into a chew toy. Hell yeah, Super Sailor. Hell
and
yeah.
For all you Goff haters out there, right? I'm looking at you, Du. You're a big Goff hater. Yeah, how many? It's like best quarterback in the NFC right now, right north, is Jared Goff. You can't tell me J.J. McCarthy is better. You can't tell me Caleb Williams is better. And you can't tell me Jordan Love is better. Jordan Love will give him a run for his money, but Jared Goff is still the best quarterback in the NFC North right now. And
Jordan Love is a piece of shit.
Shake a stick to the NFC North all you want, but when it comes down to it at the end of the year, there's usually 3 teams from the NFC North still battling and fighting for an opportunity, right? Versus like the NFC South, right, which is awful. But now that you have the Panthers seem to kind of turned a little leaf at the end of the season, got some magic. The Bucks. Their Bucks are starting to look like a retread. They're starting to lose a lot of their big Hall of Famers and big names from that Brady era. And there's Mike Evans is gone, and whatever. We don't have to get too heavy into the Bucks, but
Baker they're getting guys can only do so much.
He can, and when you're getting guys like Anzalone on the expensive end, what does that say about where your team is headed? So, a lot of those players that were there were drafted under a different regime and obviously wanted to play with Tom Brady, but you look at it now and you look at the Bucks and you look at the Saints and you look at that division and you're just like, ew, it's a lot of weirdness in there. So it's going to be an interesting year. I'm not going to make any Hermdo guarantees or any guarantees right now with the Lions, but dude, anything's got to be better than last season with Johnny Morton. So,
oof. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see. I don't know. I've seen the Detroit Pistons clinch the number 1 seed along with everything else. Just puts a huge amount of smiles on my face. Yes, Pistons, great story. Just a great story. Best story right now. The Tigers were in the spotlight for a while. Then the Lions were in the spotlight for a while. Now it's the Tigers. I mean, not the Tigers. The Pistons. The Pistons are in the spotlight right now. They're playing phenomenal basketball. They're an absolute treat to watch. One of the most fun teams. I think they're the most fun team in the Eastern Conference, personally. I love watching this team.
They're must-see TV, dude. They're must-see TV.
They're must-see TV.
We legitimately watch every game in this house. If we have the time, me and my wife and Jason, well, his attention span for a 14-year-old is checking his phone. But, that's what's on TV at night is the Pistons. Alicia was the first one to be like, "We'll put the game on," right? And I'm just like, you're used to watching basketball kind of from a distance, right? And just going, "Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the score. We'll wait till the second half." But it's must-see TV, Tom. Everything with the Pistons right now is must-see TV. And just imagine what it's going to look like when Cade comes back. That's all.
Oh, it's going to be fucking
right.
It's going to be balls to the walls, baby. It's going to be fun. They got a legit shot this year. Eastern Conference Finals. Maybe even a little bit further. You never know. We could really punctuate this new era. We're in a new era of Detroit Pistons basketball. We had the bad boys. We had the going to work. Now we got the motorcade. Anything could happen. If the Pistons reach the height of that mountaintop, that would be so good for the city. That would be so great, considering how bad the Pistons were for so long. But
they're a year ahead of the rebuild. What do you expect, Termdo? What do you expect? And I'm just going to put it out there right now because I called out Red Wings fans for having shitty expectations. We already know Lions fans that water's kind of muddied, right?
Yeah.
Tigers fans at this point, there's 162 games. They're just happy to hit home runs. Hey, hit more dingers. And then
Yeah.
Pistons fans, you tell me, what do you expect out of this team moving forward?
Personally, I think, man, because they look so damn good. Some of the teams coming out of the West, I think they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Do I want to make a Hermdo guarantee? I think I'm going to make a Hermdo guarantee. They get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Will they actually get to the NBA Finals and face like the Nuggets or the Spurs or the Oklahoma City Thunder? The West is stacked. That makes me a little bit nervous. But then again, you saw what they did against a full strength Thunder team when they had like their bench out there. I mean, that's the dynamic between the Pistons and the Thunder is very interesting. We beat them earlier in the year, just barely when they were like missing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all those guys. But I don't want to rule out a Pistons Thunder final. That would be exciting.
Really good.
That would be exciting. But you know who I want? I want those motherfucking New York Knicks. I want those bastards bad. I want to smack them around. I want to abuse them. I want to beat up Jalen Brunson. I'm tired of those motherfuckers. I'm sick of these assholes. I'm done with New York. New York, fuck New York. It's Detroit's time, baby. I'm sick of Stephen A. Smith. I'm sick of Spike Lee. I'm sick of all these douchebags with their New York Knicks shit. You got Fat Joe down there. You got all these washed up celebrities down there. No, it's the Pistons time. We're trading all those New York celebrities. We're gonna have Eminem down there. We're gonna have Kid Rock down there. We're gonna have Jack White down there.
We're gonna
have that guy from I Think You Should Leave down there.
Oh, Tim Robinson? Yeah.
Tim Robinson.
We're going to be the reason why Karl Anthony Towns is traded. I'm telling you. When we get done with the Knicks in the first round or whatever round we play them in, because we're number 1 seed. I don't really know who we're going to play the first round. It won't be the Knicks, actually. But
no.
When we get done with them after this season, Karl Anthony Towns will be traded because of the way that the Pistons manhandled this team this year. So, that team is going to blow themselves up. And, Jalen Brunson's hot hand 3-point shooting, we have an answer for that right now. We really do. There's multiple players on this team that can compete and keep up with that. And then you also look at it, too, from a foul standpoint, right? If Cade gets in foul trouble, you have Dennis Jenkins, who's averaging 21 points. It doesn't seem to be cooling down at all. You just have such a deep team right now. And, Cade's injury, although it was impactful, it also taught us a big lesson. And it was the right season for this to happen, because when he comes back, Hermdo, he doesn't have to score 31 off the rip. All he's got to come and do is get his 20 assists and just be there, be the facilitator, right? That's how this works. And you look at Jalen Duren, and he's probably, I know he's not MVP, but he's all around one of the best players in the NBA right now. Complete player. He's doing more than a 4 or 5 would do. And when called upon, he's basically leading this team as well. So look for him to get a massive contract extension at the end of the season, rightfully so. And you look at the guys we have in right now, right? We're removed from bringing in the Dennis Schroeders who constantly get traded, right? Like when you're bringing in guys like him, you're kind of bridging the gap. We're past that. We're done.
Yeah. This is a new era, baby. We're moving on. Why aren't we talking Wolverines? You want to start with that, Mark? How do you feel about what did you think about that game versus Arizona? I thought it was pretty damn fun. Yexel Landenborg getting a little bit of, I'm totally mispronouncing his name, but getting a little bit of foul trouble early, was on the bench for a minute, but it was the biggest, it was 48-32 at the end of the first half, biggest deficit for the Arizona Wildcats all season long. Michigan was firmly in the driver's seat the entire game.
I told you.
Michigan in the finals for the first time. And when's the last time they were in the finals? Like 2014, maybe 2013. I don't remember, but it's exciting stuff. It's exciting stuff.
I told you. I said whoever wins this game is going to win the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
I said. Well, I didn't say, but my bracket I did here in the house, I have UConn versus Michigan. I foreseen this. They're the best team in college basketball, probably, arguably, one of the best teams we've ever seen in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And if Lundenberg and Cadeau and Mara are on their A game, which they have been, this team is undefeatable. Right? Those three players alone, like when they're playing their game, which they're playing right now, they look like a pro team playing college teams. They really do. You
Yep.
can't you can't keep up. I turned the game on and it just started and it was 10-2. And it looked like a
Yep.
bunch of guys, they were beating up on Arizona all game. And I think it's because they can play defense, right? They have such dangerous three-point shooting. But they're not just guys that all launch up there. They can also score in the paint. They don't have to, but they can. And they have
Mm-hmm.
so many guys that come out here and can give you quality minutes with quality play. And if one of them's three-point game isn't really hot, they're going to get started. They're going to get jumping, right?
Absolutely.
Mara, for me, is a freak, right? He put up
Yes.
26 points in that game when Lendenberg is typically averaging 21 points a game in this series or in this NCAA tournament. But there will be games where he can't do that, right? When Cadeau can't miss as a three-point shooter, watch out.
Yeah.
You're done. You're cooked. You're done. Sorry. So it's such an exciting thing, and I think they have, again, like we talked about with the Pistons, they got guys that can give them 30 minutes on the bench.
Yep.
They got guys that can do that across the board. You got McKinney, you got Gale, right? Like interchange these guys for any of these games, and you're going to see them all put up big numbers and play pro level ball.
Absolutely.
So I'm all in. I think it's going to be. I think UConn obviously is a good match for them. They're the
Yes.
team that ousted Duke, but they ousted them with. Personally, I think Duke played sloppy for that entire tournament. I think Duke looked beatable their first game. I think they kind of mailed it all in on the season, and they went a little
Mm-hmm.
over the top on these Boozer twins. That's
Yeah.
just my opinion.
That's a fair opinion to have.
The dude says,
I
I think
do.
2017, he says.
2017 was it that recent? I don't remember, but thank you, Do. Anyways, I got some numbers for you, Mark. I got some numbers regarding. Let's preview this game against UConn a little bit. The opening odds, we got Michigan as of right now -6.5 favorites. Final four result, they defeated Arizona 91-73. UConn defeated Illinois 71-62. Points per game on the season 86.4 from the Wolverines. From the Huskies, it's 76.9. The tournament streak, 5 straight double-digit wins for the Wolverines. Now, UConn is more of a defensive kind of rock fight, if you will. The games are a little bit closer. Their games are a little chippier. They're a lot more physical. They're a lot more. I don't know if you want to say the word desperate, but they're it's a lot closer of a matchup. UConn really had to fight. I think maybe. Michigan has just been cruising through the tournament pretty much, but I think maybe UConn might be a little bit more battle tested. They've had to get out, some gritty wins, some chippy wins. I don't know, maybe I'm talking shit, but you take a look at some of this stuff. The big problem, Mara versus Reed. Ade Mara's coming off a career high 26 points against Arizona. Faces a familiar face in UConn's Terrace Reed Jr., former Wolverine who just posted a double-double, 17 points, 11 rebounds in the semifinal. Reed knows Michigan's system, but stopping Mara's length is a different task entirely. But we got to Michigan's 90-point pursuit. The Wolverines are making history, scoring 90-plus points in 5 consecutive NCAA tournament games. The first team to ever do that. If they hit that mark again, it's hard to see UConn keeping pace. But the Huskies, they like to muddle the game. They held Illinois to just 62 points, and they'll try to slow Michigan's transition game. Health of the Stars, Yexel Lendeborg was limited to 15 minutes against Arizona due to early foul trouble and lingering foot issue, though he is expected to start. As far as UConn, junior guard Solo Ball missed practice on Sunday with a foot injury, and as a game-time decision, his absence will put immense pressure on freshman sensation Braylon Mullins. But as we discussed before, Michigan is a 6.5 point favorite. I like those numbers. I like them a lot. But we'll see the final. It's April 6th, tomorrow at Lucas Oil Stadium. So, it'll be Michigan's first title since 1989, since the Glenn Rice days. But yeah, I'm liking Michigan's chances. I think they can outlast the Huskies. I think this will be momentous, coming especially on the heels of Michigan football's national title in 2023. A couple, having a championship football program, and a couple years later, championship basketball program. That's big for the school, and then more importantly for me, a Walmart Wolverine. That gives me bragging rights over all these dirty Spartan bastards. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I think it's going to be a really good time. Oh, I know who this is. He said he's got 500 on the game.
Oh baby,
One of our biggest.
That's
fans,
cooking with gas.
That's
cooking with gas. I like this guy. This guy.
He's a silent contributor here that and I'll tell you later who it is. It's a secret silent contributor. So we'll see if he can give himself away. But thank you for joining.
Is it somebody we went to high school with?
Oh, it's someone we know. It's someone we know. I'll tell you later. But
okay,
he's been texting. I will. He's been texting me a lot of good ideas that I've been stealing for the show. So I had to trying to get him on. But he says he might join us one time. But
okay,
yeah, this is to me. I think everyone's excited for it. Hermdo. Hopefully everybody's brackets, they had Michigan winning. I had them winning in both. I had them going against Duke. We got a score prediction of, and this is pretty 70. Hold on. It is 79-69 will be the final score. So mark that down is what one of our listeners are saying. I think you're pretty close with that.
I think so too.
Maybe take that 79 and move it up to like 84. But I think, listen, if they can handle Arizona, they have no problems with UConn.
Yeah.
Like you said, UConn's a scrappy team. The only way they have it is if they can keep it close. I just think Michigan can keep this game out of race. But it's going to be a fun game.
They got the tools and the talent to keep it in control. I think they can control UConn. It's going to be a bit of a fight. It'll be chippy early on, but I do think in the long run, Michigan will outlast them. So
agree.
Yeah, that's a Hermdo guarantee. Michigan is going to be cutting down the nets. Dusty May is going to get his first national championship. The Michigan's going to have his first national championship since me and Mark were 3 years old. So, yeah, we'll have that. That'll be exciting for everybody. Michigan will cement itself as a basketball and a football school. Michigan State will have no legs to stand on. The dirty Sparties will be very upset. Tom Izzo will disintegrate into a pile of dust like at the end of Avengers.
Apparently he almost booked it for Phoenix last year. So
no shit. Yeah, I heard about that.
I again we talked about him. We love
nothing
Tom
but love
Izzo.
for Tom Izzo. I'm just fucking around. I love the guy, legend. I'm definitely lean more Michigan. I'm not one of these, whack jobs, but sorry I'm late. Reum forgot to pick me up. Looking good, Hermdo. I mean, self.
Thank you,
this guy's using Hobby for Bobby, using my avatar, using me as a PFP, using me as an avatar. Fat guy with sunglasses, wearing a dirty hoodie. Okay. They can't go for too many threes and slow it down in the second half and keep cool heads. Yeah. Agreed.
That's that.
They got to keep it.
We talked about.
They got to keep the balance. Definitely going forward.
You know what was funny, Hermdo?
What's that?
And this kind of talks all sports topics, and I think this is we accidentally talked about this last week where I said, hey, let's go to the Salvation Army and start looking for obscure jerseys, right? Just obscure sports jerseys, especially from the Detroit area. Now, that short alone got us a ton of viewers, which was super awesome. And I put it out there on Facebook because I'm like, this seems to be a topic everybody can relate to. So I wanted to talk about some of the most obscure jerseys that our friends and fellow listeners have brought up, right? So I don't know. What do you think about that?
Sounds good to me. I love to discuss it. Whatever. I love the obscure jerseys. Let's get rolling with that stuff. Absolutely.
So number one, Timmy Greshak, fan of the show, friend of the show. He says Bobby Higginson, right?
Okay.
We know you and Hitch did a stream where he came up with all these fake facts about Bobby
Warning
Higginson.
track power.
Yeah, warning track power. I'm just like, what? How many beers did he have before he came up with warning
I
track
lost
power?
count. He was drinking and smoking. I was drinking too. We were both fucked up. Oh Lord.
So
Couple of old boomers.
Yeah, Bobby Higginson, which I thought is a good kind of 90s throwback Tigers.
Yeah.
And then Sean Heron said, and this is one that really hit deep, was Kevin Jones. Someone
Kevin
who
Jones.
I believed in and wanted to I wanted him to work as a Lions running back, right?
Yeah, oh
And
geez. Another one for the scrap heap. Oh
yep,
God, poor guy.
that's the perfect way to say it. Another one for the scrap heap.
Just there's so many Mikael LaShore and what was his name?
Oh boy, here we
Kerryon Johnson and
Javid
Best and all these guys. Oh my God, Kevin Jones, the poor guy.
I forgot about Mikael LaShore.
Remember Zach Zenner? White boy.
White boy fan favorite Zach Zenner. All of your questionable friends were like the ones that really like Zach Zenner. You're like, but why? And he's like, well, And I'm just like, but why? He's not that good. Mikael LaShore, though, that did hit a name. That was a second round pick out of Illinois.
Yeah. I remember he put who was he playing? There's an old clip of Mike Valenti from like 2009.
Oh boy, don't say that word. The dude will know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, but it was back in like November of 2009, and Mike Valenti's talking about Mikael LaShore. I think they were playing Michigan, and they ran like Mikael LaShore. This is back in like the Tate Forcier days. This is back in the Rich Rod days. And he's talking about Mikael LaShore just running his ass off against Michigan. I guess Mikael LaShore, this is back when he was on Illinois. I guess he holds like the single game rushing record for like Illinois football of like all time. But he came to the Lions, didn't do it. He had like a 100-yard rushing game. Remember, people realize, having a 100-yard rushing game was like a rare thing for a Lions running back for years and years and years. And Mikael LaShore had one. Then he got injured. Then he kept getting injured. And then he was like off the team in like 2 years. It was just Detroit Lions. Yeah, it just the tragic story. I don't know why I know so much about Mikael LaShore. I don't know why, but that was a little bit of an info dump.
No, that's a strong info dump, actually. Thank you from the Mikael LaShore. So while we're talking, we just talked Michigan basketball. The dude said he had a Robert Taylor Michigan jersey, or Robert Traylor Michigan jersey.
Yeah.
And he also said he had a Steve Avery baseball jersey. And I think he wins from the obscurity standpoint because next to Hitch's Boss Bailey, which I don't know if you knew this, but Hitch was an absolute fanboy of Boss Bailey, right?
Yeah.
Boss Bailey's jersey did not exist, and his mom went out and got him a custom Boss Bailey. So I think Hitch will always win when it comes to that. But we had a couple of good ones like Lance Parrish, right? Another solid stud, absolute stud for the Tigers.
Yeah. Back in the 84.
Here's another one. Sergei Samsonov, Detroit Vipers jersey.
Oh, my God. You got to find me a Tim Thomas. Find me a Tim Thomas Detroit Vipers jersey. I want that. Bruins goalie won the cup in 11.
Yep.
Multiple Vezina winner from Michigan. Tim Thomas was from Michigan. They named a bridge after him, too. But, yeah, I'll give you a Tim Thomas Vipers jersey. I'd pay money for that. But
well, and I guess it goes to so because the dude said he actually had to have his made. That really says something when you fall in love with a player and you have to go out there and get their obscure jersey. It's one thing if like your Uncle Larry gave it to you as a Christmas gift and you're like, not really into him, but okay, sure, right? I don't know if anyone was going out there getting a Viper jersey made, which I'm about to go now, which I'm thinking is a good idea.
Yes.
So I just think it was so funny because you have like we talked about it, every single one of our sports teams has had a dull, dark, weird face, right?
Mhm.
Even from a Red Wings standpoint, I got a Marian Hossa out there,
Oh, yeah.
which you want to call that he picked the wrong year to join the team.
Yeah.
But Charles Rogers is another one.
Oh, geez.
I went down a, excuse me, I'm burping like you know, a rabbit hole with some of these guys, right? And we mentioned Curtis Granderson,
Yeah.
which homegrown talent, and
Yeah.
then you fall in love with him, and then of course he's gone.
I want a Juan Encarnacion Tigers jersey. I want a
Okay,
Juan Encarnacion Tigers jersey. I want that so bad. I want that more than I want oxygen. I remember going down to Tiger Stadium when I was a kid, and it was like Bobby Higginson. When was this?
Tony
Back in
Clark.
like '99. I don't think Bobby Higginson was on the damn team, but it was Juan Encarnacion, and who else? Like Travis Fryman was on the team. Maybe Brad Osmus was even on the team. I don't remember, but I my pre 2006 Tigers knowledge is a little bit spotty. I have to apologize, but I was a fair weather fan. You have to excuse me.
At least you're
But
not
yeah,
using the words warning track power.
warning track power. Oh Jesus! But funny note about this. My buddy Matt, he showed me he had a Red Wings jersey of Kevin Hodgson. He was like a goaltender. He was like a backup goalie for the Red Wings back in like I don't even know, maybe the late '90s. But I mean, there was like some other guys. There was like Tim Chevelday back then. There was just obviously Ozzy was like the main goaltender back then. Then you had other guys. You had Mike Vernon. You had Dominic Hasek and Tony the Tiger Clark's batting gloves. Oh, that'd be hell. That'd be a hell of a thing.
You want to talk about a '90s player that reminds me of the Tigers? It's Tony Clark. That's a good one.
Yeah.
He like you say, Juan Encarnacion. I just picture Tony Clark's big body sitting over there on first base. So, mine would have been Allen Houston, Detroit Pistons jersey. I
Hell
always
yeah.
wanted an Allen Houston. Actually, when COVID happened, I started to go on this retro vibe kick of a lot of stuff, and Allen Houston jersey is still something I'm looking for. So I'll probably have to get that made unless somebody knows or has an Allen Houston jersey. But loved the way George Blaha said the name Allen Houston. Loved everything about Allen Houston. Was very bothered when he left to go to New York. But yeah, so the dude
Who hit
the last home run at Tiger Stadium?
Oh,
That's
man.
a good question.
That's a very good question. I do not know. You know what? Speaking of Detroit Pistons jerseys, I want a Josh Smith Detroit Pistons jersey. Remember that contract? Remember that guy? Oh, my God.
How did you bring that up? Josh
Oh,
Smith.
Lord.
Oh, my God. That's so gross. Okay, so I figured it. I looked it up. I looked up who the last Tiger that hit a home run was in Tiger Stadium. It was Robert Fick.
Okay.
September 27th, 1999. It was a dramatic eighth inning grand slam that hit the right field roof, sealing an 8-2 victory for the Tigers. You want to talk about an obscure Tiger player, Robert Fick.
Jeez Louise.
That was a good one.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I was there. Speaking of Cecil Fielder's big ass arms, I was actually at the game where he hit the ball on the roof on Tiger Stadium. I think they were playing the Oakland Athletics. It was I think back in '91. He smoked the roof of it. But a lot of good memories at that ballpark. There's a lot of obscure Tiger names from that era too. That would be some pretty good jerseys. Like I have, let's see. I have my your Bless You Boys Trammell jersey, but I guess you say yours would be Juan Encarnacion. We've got a Tony the Tiger batting glove. I'm trying to think who my obscure Tiger jersey would be that I'd want. That's a really good one with Juan Encarnacion.
What about Travis Fryman?
Travis Fryman, yeah, that was another one. Another player I really liked. Third baseman, solid, just a monster. But you don't see too many Placido Polanco jerseys, and he had a nice little run here.
No, you don't. He had a great tenure with the Tigers.
Yeah, he did. You don't see a lot of that. We did get an MSU Draymond Green jersey, which Draymond is a very polarizing player. I think he obviously is on the very tail end of his career. And then, of course, let's see. Oh, dude, Bill Bonds, baby. I was a kid at Lindell AC, and I sat with Bill Bonds and saw Mike Ilitch sign the contract to buy the. Listen, dude, Bill Bonds. I want a Bill Bonds jersey for anything, just with Bill Bonds on it. I want to.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
that just hit a certain spot right there. You know, we could just talk about legendary sports broadcasters or legendary Detroit. Like you got Bill Bonds, you got Mort Krim. Dude, you got some
Yep.
legends, man.
I remember my mom had an LK line jersey. That's cool. I remember Bill Bonds. There was this thing after like 9/11, and he made like this PSA like after 9/11. He's like, Osama bin Laden. I can't even do his voice justice, but it was him with his like curly white hair, and he was just like he was looking so sternly into the camera, just like Osama bin Laden, you're going to hell or something like that. Or was that a real thing? Did I dream that? I don't even remember. It's just like, but I remember Bill Bonds. I mean, God, you gotta love the guy.
Bill Bonds cut a promo on Osama bin Laden, and you're not sure if it happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be fucking.
He was the voice of Gardner White for a really long time.
Yeah, yeah, Gardner White. Yeah, yeah.
Man, if he didn't pass away, he'd be one hell of a podcast to watch.
Hell yes. Hell yes. Good old Bill Bonds taking care of business. Fucking A, man.
The life and times of Bill Bonds.
Yeah.
Guy Gordon. Oh my God, dude, he's killing it right now. Robbie Timmons. Dude, you're just killing it right now with these broadcasters from
Guy
Detroit.
Gordon. Oh fuck.
Jesus Christ. Makes you feel old too when you see how old these guys are, right?
Yeah.
Bill Bonds died in 14. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting one, right? Like as I'm on my way to look for some of these obscure jerseys, it was nice that people. I'm not the only weirdo out there, right?
No, absolutely not.
Now
absolutely
it's
not.
I don't. The quest for who can get the most obscure quickest.
Yeah, if I had like, I'm thinking like, if I could get an obscure Red Wings jersey. I don't know, like maybe like a Brent Feddick or something. I remember going to a bar, Irish Coffee in Grosse Pointe. There's a bar called Irish Coffee in Grosse Pointe. I used to go there when I still lived in Detroit, and I remember going there. I asked the girl, "There's this picture of this guy, a Red Wings player. I didn't recognize him. I asked him, who's that?' And she looks at me and she says, Brent Feddick. He used to come into the bar, and I guess he would like have like girls' panties in his pockets and stuff." Because you're a Red Wings player, you're getting laid all the fucking time. This Brent Feddick guy, he was like number 14. He played, I don't even remember when he played, like back in the 90s or something, but it was pretty crazy. It's just like I would love to have a jersey like that. Just something totally like, people wouldn't know who the fuck that even was. But either that or like Darian Hatcher or Pat Verbeek or what was his name? There's another guy. Oh, what the hell was his name? Like Martin Lapointe or something, just one of those guys.
Martin
Lapointe. Dallas Drake or something.
You need a Doug Brown jersey, the only American player from that era that was on the team. A good old Doug Brown jersey.
What about John O'Grodnick or Reed Larson or something like that back before the Wings dynasty? Back when Yzerman was a rookie. I used to go to the bar with Hitch, promised me fun. Yeah.
It's always nice to have.
That was a cool bar. I should go back there. Fuck, it's still out of the way. I'm stuck in Ferndale right now. Not a Detroit jersey, but I have Maple Leaf Doug Gilmore. Hell yeah. I want a Felix Potvin jersey.
Ooh,
I want a Felix the Cat jersey.
That's a
hell yeah. Or maybe Dave Andreychuk too. Or fucking Matt Sundin. Why not? I want a Matt Sundin Nordiques jersey for the team he was drafted on. Yeah. Hell
How about
yeah.
this? A Martin St. Louis Tampa Bay jersey.
I like that. Maybe the Vinny Lecavalier. Mario Lapointe wanted more money. We canned him, rightfully so. Fuck that guy. Yeah, fuck Mario Lapointe. I just think it would be kind of funny to have his jersey. Yeah.
From an obscurity standpoint, I always had an infatuation with Kurt Maltby. I do need to get my hands on a Kurt Maltby jersey. When I was in baseball, when I played baseball, he wore my number, right? So we had this one magical season in baseball one year, and Burke was on my team, and we just killed it. And Burke was 19 that year, and I was 18. And that was one of the many of the years that the Red Wings were good. So we're watching, and I'm like, oh, who am I? I always would do that. Who wears my number in the pros on other teams? And Kurt Maltby, part of eventually, I guess he kind of became part of the grind line, um, wore number 18. And years after that, I saw Kurt Maltby at Kroger on Murder, right? And I just froze. Didn't know what to say. Didn't have anything to sign. And it kind of had to do one of them double takes because he had a hat and glasses on, but I knew it was Kurt Maltby.
Yeah.
Flash forward a couple of years later at a house, and we're doing a little party situation in high school. And it's a really nice neighborhood in Grosse Pointe. And the girl that owns the house, hey, who lives across the street from you? She's like some Red Wings player, Kurt Maltby. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I had
Oh
multiple
no shit.
chances to meet this guy, and I whiffed. Long story short, I need a Kurt Maltby jersey. Haven't seen one. Probably going to
Yes.
have to get that made along with my Allen Houston jersey. Maybe that'll be a fun thing. We just go collect
Yeah.
all the jerseys we always wanted as kids.
Yeah. Hell yeah. We're rich. We're adults now. We're 40-year-old millionaires. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I got
Hell yeah.
$20 in cash on me. You're drinking booze out of a plastic bottle. This is perfect.
I'm such a degenerate. Fucking A. I don't know why you still stream with me, man. I'm the
It's
worst.
too fun. It's too fun. No way.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. Good
We're
stuff.
we're building the content up, man, and I want to encourage everybody that's listening. Tell your friends about us too. Have them jump in the chat. We're really trying to get to 500 subscribers. We're like 4 away from being at 400. We're really close to that. So, yeah, if you're watching, please make sure you're subscribed.
We're growing like, Hermdome. My mom pulled up a short of you in the DFF and asked, "Is that Tom Herman?" I told her no, it's Alex Trombley. Right in the middle of Easter dinner. How many people know who I am? That's the thing. Is that Tom Herman? Is it? Woo!
The main topic of conversation for Hobby for Bobby was
Hobby for Bobby.
Yeah. Well, come on, man. Of course, everybody knows who you are. You're a local legend.
Yes. I'm well known.
I had a couple guys at work come up to me and they go, "Who's your buddy, Hermdo?" Yeah, I like him. He's a nice addition to the show. So
yeah, good.
Everybody loves Hermdo, dude.
Good. I need all the love I can get. I need all the love I can get. I'm very sad, man. But no, I'm just fucking around.
It's April in the D. The sports teams are winning. The weather is kind of changing. Yeah, it's changing a little bit, but yeah. So we got like an action-packed week coming up. We've got Michigan basketball tomorrow night. And what we got here? Tom's been showing up on my Facebook pages. People I may know. See, you're out there in the universe.
Good.
The world cannot deny Hermdo, right? But yeah, we got Michigan playing tomorrow night. After they win, we should probably hop on here and do a little celebration. We obviously have the kickoff to the midweek show that we're going to be doing this week. That's going to be really fun. And then obviously, like I said, you're going to have to come over here. We're going to have to start talking draft. We're going to have to do a draft-tacular episode.
Yes.
Because
that's going to be fun. It's coming. I keep forgetting it's April. I keep thinking it's like March or something. But no, we're in early April. Draft is coming right up, baby. We got, it's going to be, I'm looking forward to it, Mark. I'm going to be in your house.
And
I'm
anybody
farting up a storm.
I'm
going to be drinking your liquor.
This is the fart zone right here.
Yes.
If anybody wants to join us for, one of these lives or wants to come on, we love you to have you in the chats. But
absolutely,
I'll send you a link. Send me your email. I'll send you a link. We'll bring you on. We want to make this as interactive as possible. He goes, I'll be in bed. I have to work Tuesday, assuming they let us work. We could get into that, but you might be off Tuesday. But hey, at least you're off Monday. Thank your good union for that. I am actually looking forward to having Monday off. It's been nice having a couple of days off. It's funny you get in the rhythm of Christmas. You get time off for Christmas. You go, oh great, go back to work. It's nice. Doesn't make a difference. You were rested. It's cold out, but dude, come springtime, you need a couple days. You just need a couple days to like reset, break the grind, enjoy your family, enjoy some time. So that's what we've been doing, baby.
Absolutely.
Well, Hermdo, we've crossed that threshold. We're at about a
Yes.
$1.20. We try not to ramble on too long. We try not to make it to where we have to result to nudity, which is what Hitch always wanted to do. He said, "Let's just start stripping." And I told him we can't get naked that quick on YouTube. So, do you have any last final thoughts before we sign off?
Go every Michigan sports team except for the Red Wings. We got a clear house there. It's getting really sad. We're gonna have to be a fire sale soon. I could go for another hour about the Red Wings, but I won't because we're ending the show and Mark doesn't want to hear it. But thank you all for watching. I hope your relatives see me and they're like, "Hey, is that Tom Herman? I fucking hate that guy." And no, I'm just kidding. But thank you for watching and commenting and all that good stuff. Go every team except the Red Wings. We got to do something in Hockey Town, baby. And we're not Hockey Town anymore. I want to talk about that. We'll talk about that later. We'll get into it later. But thank you all for watching. Really appreciate it. Channel's growing. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe. If you know us personally, me and Mark, you can ask us really nicely, and maybe we'll have you on the show, and we can discuss sports. You can listen to my stories. You can listen to me as I drink Jack Daniels and try not to hold in my piss for an hour and a half. But yeah, that's all I got. What do you got, Mark? That's all from me.
I want to thank Vincent. I want to thank Donkey Kong. I want to thank all these awesome fans that we've been able to meet online, and they've welcomed us into their algorithm, and they're in the chats, and they're always commenting. That really does mean a lot because we started this thing from literally me being the first subscriber. So that's awesome. I want to thank guys like Herb Welch. Right, he is coming on here with some. April 5th in Detroit sports history features significant milestones highlighted in 1991 and a Joe Dumars 62-game free throw streak. We have weirdos like this that hop in the chat. So I want to thank everybody who always supports us every single Sunday and any other time we pop on live. Enjoy the fact that it's April in the D. Enjoy the fact that all the teams are playing well, even though, yes, Hermdall, the Red Wings suck, but they're in a different type of suck. They're not bottom of the barrel suck. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I got nothing more than that. I just want to thank, like I said, everybody over and over again. Big shout out to my sister. She listens to us each week, always rocking her Detroit Fan Forum gear. There's Detroit Fan Forum gear to come out with. Still working on the Hermdo bikini stuff, but once we hit 500, people are going to get free hoodies. So make us get to 500. That's all I got to say.
Yes.
And
I agree with everything Mark said.
All right, Tom, or AKA
right,
Hermdo. I will see you very soon, and we'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
All right, see you guys later. Thanks for watching.